One of the easiest things you can do to reduce waste is proper trash sorting. Little things like sorting can really add up. Keeping food scraps out of the landfill reduces methane emissions, and increasing recycling reduces unnecessary consumption and production of goods. When throwing something away, be cautious to consider if it belongs in the recycling, compost, or landfill bins. Sometimes the answer is not obvious, so it's really important to take a moment and really think about it. No matter where you are, whether it be at school, work, or at home, it's important to be mindful of sorting.
Hey, that's not recyclable.
Who cares?
Not sorting your trash means that it can get contaminated and reduce their ability to be recycled.
Well, should I have just thrown it in recycling then?
No, it would contaminate the recycling.
So, should I put it in compost instead?
No, that would contaminate the compost. And before you ask, putting it in the landfill means more methane, greenhouse gases would be released as it decomposes.
So, what should I do instead?
Here, I'll sort it for you.
Okay, I get it.
In the kitchen, put food scraps in a compost container to compost at home or go into your green organics bin. Anything alive in your lifetime can be composted. Napkins, tissues, tea bags, cardboard, and of course, food scraps can all be composted. There are many ways to compost at home, including open-air composting, bin composting, and vermicomposting. Compost acts as a natural fertilizer and improves soil health. Each of these methods requires a varying amount of work, but in general, composting is easy and fun. Next, let's discuss recycling. Most rigid plastics, clean paper products, cans, and bottles should be recycled. Clean aluminum foil should also be crumbled up and recycled. If you are at home, it is best to quickly rinse anything recyclable that has food on it, like a glass jar, for example. Plus, it is often best to replace caps on bottles before recycling. But the best way to reduce waste and really help the environment is to reduce our consumption. For example, you may be tempted to throw away all your old papers or homework at the end of the semester, but it is best to save papers that are unused on one side so they can be reused. Now, after printing for a while, you might notice the ink fading. Well, it's an easy fix, right? You throw out your old toner cartridge and add the new one. But in reality, it's not that simple. Toner cartridges are hazardous waste and need to be treated as such. Household hazardous waste cannot be thrown in your home landfill or recycling bins.
So, what exactly is hazardous waste? Hazardous waste is waste with properties that make it potentially dangerous or harmful to human health and the environment. A lot of these items are very familiar to us, like batteries, computers, paint, motor oil, and antifreeze. We use these things often, and they're not necessarily dangerous to us. But for example, I would never eat a battery or drink paint because I know there's stuff in there that might be hurtful to me. Similarly, this waste cannot be disposed of in a landfill because the chemicals in it may pollute our air, water, or soil. Landfills are simply not equipped to deal with these items, and they should not be going into the landfill. Hazardous waste is similar to e-waste in that it needs to go to a facility that will help recycle or dispose of it properly. If you are ever unsure if something is considered hazardous or considering what your options are, I recommend checking out the website resource.stopwaste.org, where you can type in the name of any item and see your options for disposal and where they should be going. All hazardous waste must go to a specialized facility to get rid of it. Many of these facilities will offer drop-off for free. Many waste management companies also have special days where they will come to collect your waste for reuse or landfill.
Calling your waste management company is a great way to learn more about these opportunities in your hometown. It is great to make an effort to find a new home or recycle anything you need to dispose of. But if you can, it is best to reduce consumption. One way to do this is shopping at refill stores to cut back on single-use plastics.
Here I am at Resourceville in Lafayette, California. Going to refill stores can cut down on consumption of single-use plastics. Let's get refilling and talk to the owner, Kristen. Refilling is an easy two-step process. Containers are first weighed and then refilled. Could you please just introduce yourself?
Yes, so I'm Kristen Crody. I'm the owner here at Resourceville in Lafayette.
Okay, and what inspired you to open Resourceville?
The biggest inspiration was actually visiting other refill shops and wishing there was one in Lafayette. My husband and I have always been what we think is really eco-friendly, and when we weren't making our own products, we were going to other refill shops to have them refilled. We just really wanted to have something like this in our community because we live here in Lafayette. So it's just really wanting to bring it to our community.
Why is single-use plastic such a big deal?
Because most of them don't actually get recycled. A lot of people think they're tossing their plastic container into their recycle bin. They think it's going to a recycle company and it's getting turned into new plastic. And it's a circular, sort of process, but it's not at all. New reports just came out late last year that only about 5% of plastic actually gets recycled, and the rest of it is going to landfill or to the ocean. So it is a pretty big, huge problem.
And other than buying from refill stores, what are other ways that people can reduce their waste?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, reusing things is a really good way to do that. Clothing especially, but also, other products that can be reused as well. You can also, cutting down on waste. Food waste actually generates a lot of greenhouse gases. And so doing home composting, or if your community doesn't have compost available with their green bins, reaching out to your waste company and asking them to start doing it. That's one thing you can do. Driving less and walking or biking more, eating less meat. All these things can add up to less of a carbon footprint.
Yeah, I agree. And other than being eco-friendly, what are the benefits of shopping at Resourceville?
Well, you're supporting a local family is number one. We try to bring in local products as much as we can, so not just our family, but other local, companies as well. So that would be the big one, is keeping your money local and not spending, on Amazon and just creating more wealth for a single person.
And what's your favorite product?
That's such a toughie. People ask me that all the time, and it's so hard to pick one. I'm really, truly not joking when I say I have just about everything in the shop at my house, and I use all of it. I don't know. It's really kind of a tie. And the things I definitely couldn't live without, I could, but I wouldn't want to, are the tooth tabs and the deodorant. Those are kind of my, I face care stuff too, but I use so many different ones, but the deodorant and the tooth tabs I use every day without fail.
What are your hopes in terms of corporate action or public policy in the future?
Yeah, they're pretty broad. I wish there could just be one giant umbrella thing that every product made has to be put into a container that's reusable, or every company has to pay their workers a living wage, and every company has to recycle their wastewater and offset their carbon. There's just so many different things that we like to see, but there have been some good things. Some new things are starting. I might have some of the details wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Now in California, restaurants will be required to let people bring in their own to-go containers, which is great. We've already been doing that, but not everybody is required to let people do it. So that's one good thing that's coming soon.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. yeah, there's a lot more that we could do.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's
Yeah,
all the
you're
questions
welcome.
I have. Okay, thank you.